All right, made it back to CarMax. I guess let's see how easy this is gonna be returning this thing. What's going on, everyone? I thought I would maybe share this pretty cool situation that recently happened to me. Long story short, my truck is in the shop right now in the service department just due to something with the transmission going on. Mind you, this is the third time my vehicle has been in the shop in the last 30 days. So recently I realized that my alignment was off of my truck. I had to pay to go get that fixed since that was just regular routine maintenance, nothing I can do about that. And then the week after, I had a tire leak, and then eventually they were like, hey, you know, you may as well just go ahead and replace all 4 tires. So that was, you know, over $1,000 just doing all of that, or almost $2,000 just messing with tires and alignment from a car dealership. So that's all part of having, you know, bigger trucks these days and things like that. So no big deal. Fast forward to last week, I was leaving out to go get some breakfast and a coffee right down the road, and my truck would not shift after I started driving for 2 minutes. The transmission just completely went out. It would not shift into reverse. It wouldn't shift into drive. It was just, you know, it's just nothing was catching. So I'm like, man, this is really getting frustrating. Luckily, my truck is still under warranty. I literally have about 3,000 miles until the powertrain warranty is over. I do own a GM vehicle, so I believe their powertrain is 5 years or 60,000 miles, whichever comes first. Well, I'm at 57,000 miles. So luckily this happened now, and it will be covered through GM for free. It's nothing that I have to come out of pocket for, thankfully. But long story short, I am getting to that point where I'm pretty confident that I'm going to eventually start looking into a new vehicle, just by having so many issues right now with a truck that's still under warranty, that I'm already having transmission issues, which any vehicle, any make, any model, any year is going to have issues. Every single vehicle is not perfect, you know. So I know a lot of people may be you know, big fans of certain brands or certain models, but every company, every brand, every model, every year is going to have some type of flaws or defects within those specific vehicles. So there's no such thing as a perfect vehicle. However, I am looking into maybe purchasing a Tesla in the near future. And, you know, eventually I do just want to get something low miles, something used, and be more on the, not necessarily repairs, because Teslas are gonna, you know, have issues as well long term, but I want to switch over to something less maintenance. So I am interested in looking into replacing my truck with a Tesla soon. But anyway, back to the important part of this video. As my truck is in the service department, which I'm told that it can take a week or so at that time, eventually I was like, man, I need a vehicle to get around. And I started looking into rental car companies. And I was just shocked at the cost that a rental car would be for, you know, 5 days to 7 days, 7 to 10 days, let's just say a week. You know, it was just averaging $1,000 just for a week use of a rental car. And I mean, these were just basic cars. I wasn't even looking at Teslas at the time. I was just looking at your normal Toyota Camrys, or, you know, a crossover, a little small SUV, you know, easily over $1,000 just averaging. So on top of that, a lot of times these rental car companies, you have to purchase their insurance. Thankfully, most of my credit cards, if I purchase the rental car with the card, you know, the insurance is already covered. Secondly, I myself have full coverage insurance, so a lot of times I can use that also. Anyway, by the time some people have to add their, you know, rental insurance, or you know, even the security hold or the incidental hold, a lot of times that can be $500 to $1,000. So just me looking into a rental car last week was, over $1,000. Let's just say between the security hold and the price of the car, it would have been $1,500 to $2,000, depending on what I'm looking at and how much their security hold would be. So that was a pretty good amount. So at this time, I'm like, well, my truck is in service. Let me also start looking into some used cars, and I started going to cars.com, and all these cars started popping up, and I'm like, man, let me, educate myself on electric vehicles, because I don't know anything about Teslas or any EV vehicles. I'm brand new to this. So after searching for these newer cars, of course, the way marketing worked in 2025, all of these ads started popping up on my phone. I go to YouTube, ads pop up. I go to Google, ads pop up. And then eventually CarMax, the car dealership or the online car sales, company, they started popping up on my phone, and then they had a ton of Teslas. But not only did that catch my eye, the most important thing was they offer a 10-day free return policy, which means I can go in there, buy any car I want, and I could drive it, test drive it. I can, borrow it, whatever the case is. And if I don't like it, or if I, don't feel comfortable in it, I can bring it back within 10 days and return it free of charge. So at this point, you guys kind of see where I'm leaning towards. So I'm like, man, there's no such thing as a credit card that I can use by having good credit to get a free car rental for the week. So that was initially my first thought of how can I use credit, or, how can I use me having good credit to my advantage, and eventually I can get a free rental car for the week. Unfortunately, there are no credit cards for that, or anything dealing with credit to do with that. So that's understandable. So the next thing that popped up in my head, what if I went to CarMax and just did everything online, and I applied for financing online, and by me having good credit, I shouldn't have any issues getting approved with no money down. So I'm thinking, if I put no money down and I can pick whichever car that I want to, I should have no problem bringing this car back within 10 days if I, don't like it, or whatever the case is. And it wouldn't cost me anything. They would just cancel the transaction, and I get my truck, and that's it. So, I'm always skeptical of return policies and reading the fine print and whatever fees may be associated or what they don't refund. So, I thought on it a little bit more, and eventually I'm just watching stuff on my phone, YouTube and TikToks and stuff like that. And then CarMax just kept popping back up. So that's all part of marketing in 2025. Things will just continue to pop up on your phone until you go get it. That's how they reel you in. So I looked more into it. The first thing I did was see, is there a CarMax near me? And being here right outside the Phoenix, Arizona area, there's about 3, 4, 5 CarMax dealerships right here local to me. So that was the first thing I did. And then the second thing I did was just Google their return policy. Let me see what red flags can I see, or what fine print can I read. And as I'm going down the list, I'm searching for their return policy on their website and on Google, and I'm reading everything. And I'm like, man, there's really no strings attached with this. You can really get a car and you don't want it anymore, or if you're done using it, you return it within 10 days. You don't have to buy a new one. You just give it back to them. So and being within 10 days, clearly I guess the miles are unlimited, because you can't really do too much in 10 days and return it back to that same destination. So there's literally no rules with this. You get it, you have 10 days to return it, as long as the car isn't beat up, wrecked, smoked in, all that nonsense. So I'm like, man, this is a no-brainer for me. So by me being the person that I am, and conveniency being a big thing for me, the next part was seeing if I can just do everything online without going in and sitting down and wasting an hour with somebody in person. Let me just see if I can just buy the car myself online. So I noticed they had the financing tab on their website, and I got pre-qualified, just that easy. So again, by me having good credit, I don't have anything negative on my credit. My credit cards are paid every month. I have zero balances reporting. There should be no reason why I shouldn't get approved. Now, I'm already expecting, or was expecting, the interest rate to be sky high, or at least not realistic, because CarMax is a dealership. So they're in-house financing. They are in business to make money. They're not going to have competitive car rates like your credit union or your personal bank may have. So they're not going to have the 3%, 4%, which I don't even think those exist anymore on used vehicles. But on something used, your average interest rate on a vehicle may be between 6 and 8% if you get something really low through a personal bank. Now, if you go to a dealership, it may be a little higher, So eventually I was approved within 5 minutes, or my bad, 5 seconds. And within 5 minutes, their online sales rep, who isn't even at the store location that I'm going to, this lady called me. She was very polite, gave me the good news. She read my results. Even though they were right in front of me on my computer, she read them to me and confirmed I'm approved, zero down. She confirmed all of my information, and she said, hey, I can set the appointment for you to go in and grab the car. The car deal is already done. You just have to officially go there, check it out, and scan your driver's license and do the electronic signature or wet sign it, whichever you choose, and the car is yours.
Send you that link of those decisions. I have for the 72-month term, it would be $597.05 a month with zero down payment. APR is 9.99%, and that will be with CarMax Auto Financing.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. If that's all done, is there anything that I need to bring with me before I get there in maybe 30, 40 minutes?
Yeah, definitely. All you would need, of course, is just driver's license, and then your current, do you have current insurance right now?
Yes, I have it already.
Perfect. So all you would need to do is just bring those two informations in, and you're pretty much all set.
All right, just got out my Uber, made it to CarMax. Let's go see what I can find in here. I must say, my overall experience with CarMax was 10 out of 10. It was straightforward, it was super easy, no strings attached, and they were completely honest with everything. Got this new Model 3, let's see what it rides like. All right, I just made it home in the Tesla Model 3 that I just picked up from CarMax. Again, I did apply for this vehicle all online. I got approved within 2 minutes. Got approved with zero down, no money paid for the down payment, just by having good credit. And the purpose of this vehicle, like I mentioned, is I'm wanting something to drive and decide if I'm going to purchase while my current vehicle is in service. All right, I've had the Tesla for a little while. Let's take it back and see if this return policy is legit. All right, made it back to CarMax. I guess let's see how easy this is gonna be returning this thing. They say no strings attached, so let's see how this goes. All right, got the return agreement. Easy peasy, took 5 minutes. Gave the car back to him, and that's it. I don't own it anymore. So, again, a lot of people, even including myself, are, nervous or skeptical when it comes to return policies and dealing with the headaches, especially coming from the dealership side, where they're like, oh, drive the car, go ahead and buy it and return it if you don't like it. No strings attached, fully refundable. If you pay cash, we'll refund your money by check, or if you finance it, well, we just void the transaction, return your down payment. If you got approved with zero down, well, there's nothing that we owe you. So that was a pretty cool experience for me. Those who are in the market to purchase a vehicle, or at least look into trying a vehicle before you actually buy it, I highly recommend checking out CarMax. Like I said, they're fully transparent and they do stand by their 10-day return policy. Another thing that I realized as I was purchasing the car the other day, they mentioned that they offer a 90-day warranty on all of their vehicles. So the Tesla that I purchased and returned, if I would have kept that car, I had 90 days to drive it. And if anything happens to that vehicle, I can bring it back and CarMax will fix it free of charge. So I also think or thought that was a pretty cool deal that CarMax offer. And look, it's 2025, this day and age, everything is online. People don't have time to go sit down in person like the old school days, and you're fighting back and forth over numbers every single time. It just get exhausting dealing with buying things on the financial level, or big financial level, like houses and cars and things like that. People just much rather just see the price online. If they don't like that price, they search for a different vehicle online and go with the price that fits their budget or the vehicle that fits their needs. Just something else on a personal level with me. The most recent home that I just purchased, I did it fully online. In fact, some of you guys are watching or listening, that I am from Louisiana and I recently moved to Arizona, and I did that transaction 100% online, virtual walkthroughs, everything. So I was actually in Louisiana signing the purchase agreements and everything for the new home that I'm in, and just did it fully online without seeing the home once, and the realtor that we had was very, very, very informative, and she was able to send videos, give pros and cons of the neighborhood, shows different parts of the area, all of those things. And, I really think doing things online these days just saves people time. You don't have to take off work. You don't have to waste gas driving somewhere. It's just, you don't have to set an alarm to wake up to be somewhere. It's just conveniency. So CarMax, in my opinion, will always have my respect, because that's the way I wish to buy vehicles. Search online. If I don't like this one, look for another one on their website. If this location don't have it, go to the next location or transfer it to the location that's, closest to me. So that's pretty much all for this episode. Moral of the story, though, having good credit realistically saved me $1,500 to $2,000 last week, just by having good credit, getting approved with zero down, and was able to get approved through CarMax Auto Finance, and took advantage of their 10-day return policy if I did not wish to keep the vehicle. And I used that, no strings attached. I did not have any issues, as you see, and everything went completely fine. And, there was zero stress. I was maybe in CarMax for maybe 15 minutes for both transactions. And if I would have went on vacation and flew somewhere, let's say to the Miami airport or Las Vegas airport, any of these busy tourist destinations, it takes an hour renting a car. One, I have to catch a shuttle bus, to get to the rental car center. Then I get to the rental car center, there's 40 people in line, and it's a big headache. And then once I get the rental car, I now have to drive out of the rental car center, and then I have to return it and all that stuff. So I'm not advising people to go on vacation and buy a car and then return it on vacation. But if you have good credit, that is something that you technically could do. They honor that 10-day return policy. So that is something that you could eventually do, but I just think that's pretty cool how CarMax allows you to test drive cars for 10 days. And if you don't like it, return it for a refund or they void the transaction. So if you are watching or listening to this on the audio episode, hopefully this is something that you're watching on the YouTube platform. But for those of you who are tuning in, if you do have credit issues, I am someone that could assist you with that. Please visit stirguscreditrepair.com. We are just a service-based company, so there's not anything that we're doing that, clearly you can't do yourself, but most of our customers, in fact, all of our customers, just simply do not have the time to review their credit report, see items that are possible to dispute, look at errors that's on their credit reports. There may be some violations. There may be things that we can prove to be unverifiable. And if those items, fit any of those situations, the credit bureaus do delete those off of your credit report. And once those items are deleted, then of course your scores go up and you can begin using your credit to purchase homes or, finance a vehicle that's within a reasonable budget, whatever the case is. So if you are someone who are in the process of buying a home soon or a vehicle or whatever you're trying to do financially with your credit, and you have credit issues at this time, please feel free to reach out to me directly. You can visit stirguscreditrepair.com. All the pricing and all the details is already listed on the website. You can look at many of the FAQs, which answers so many questions that new customers normally ask me up front. I already have those questions asked and answered on the FAQ page already. And you can take 2 to 3 minutes and fully enroll. So you can sign up. You don't have to, which also this goes back to how CarMax run their business. You don't need to come in and sit down and speak to someone or even call or anything like that. You do everything online. The pricing's there, the information's there. Once you do submit your information, we get started instantly. So it's, well, not if it's, while we're sleeping, but the very next availability, which is the next business day, if you sign up overnight or the evening before, we get started the very first morning. Or if you sign up the day of during, reasonable business hours, and before the day is over, then we get started that day. So if you do have credit issues, please visit stirguscreditrepair.com. If you have questions, you can just shoot over a quick email to info@stirguscreditrepair.com. That is all. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Check us out on Spotify or any of your audio podcast platforms if you wish to listen to things instead of watch them, vice versa. For those who are listening to this episode, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel platform because you can just watch things visually versus just hearing it without seeing things. So definitely subscribe to the It Pays to Have Good Credit platform. And always remember, it does pay to have good credit. If you use credit to improve your lifestyle and would like to share your story on the It Pays to Have Good Credit podcast, feel free to reach out to us at info@stirguscreditrepair.com. Stirgus is spelled STIRGUS, creditrepair.com.